Hello, this is the LEGO Technic Bolide, or however you choose to pronounce it. It's all good, I don't care. We see what it is, we know what it is. It comes with 905 pieces, and I built it live over on Twitch. I paid $50 US for this, 50, and you can find the product tagged on the video. The size and scale of this thing is comparable to the McLaren Senna that was black and blue, or to the green colored Mustang or the orange Corvette. So compared to a minifigure, there's just a general idea of its overall size. It's not one of the big supercars, it's not absolutely super tiny, but I need to show you this from the manual. It's a pretty important thing. That's the real thing. So that's what they're trying to replicate here, and that is not an easy cluster of shapes to try to replicate in Lego in any form, and especially at a smaller scale. It's so swoopy, so round. All things considered, I think that the designer did an excellent job, but we'll get into some of the specifics. This does look pretty similarly finished all the way around in terms of its level of texture and detail. This had so many pieces that I personally had not seen before. A lot of really interesting shapes of small panels. I've not built a fully fared, relatively small Technic set like this in quite a while, so it was really interesting to me to see this strange shape right here, which is its own thing in both the yellow and the black. These corner ones I think I had seen a couple of times on the larger red Ferrari, the Daytona SP3. These tiny little 1x1 panels are super useful, and that one right there is a print. Most of the decorations on this are done with stickers, but I will point out some special prints. I think this is that same corner one again, but I think there was another shape in here as well. These pieces, these diagonal braces, are used to really good effect. Now, on the actual car, you've got carbon fiber underneath here, you've got fairing underneath, so you're not able to see all the way through. But because primarily gray pieces, and even a gradient of gray pieces of different colors of gray, including light gray, and dark pearl gray in there, as well as some black bits, just, I don't know, kind of give it the right feel there. There are some pieces, obviously, like the red here and the blue here that stand out, that are colors that you would rather not see, but they don't offend me quite as much on this model as they usually do, just because of the overall texture of it. It kind of works for me. It's a very subjective thing. This right here, this little small, it's like a miniaturized version of the Porsche 911, the GT3? Yeah, the street car, the orange one. It's a miniaturized version of that fender. This is printed here. So they've got a print for this side. They've got a mirrored one for the other side. Nice little piece. Works well. The prints, though, are definitely not thick enough. That yellow should be the same as this yellow, and it is noticeable in person. Again, not the most offensive thing visually in this particular color scheme, and again with this level of texture, surface texture, but it is something that I will always point out. The wheel discs are done with stickers, sticker there, some system building along the side. There's a little bit more of system building on this, sorry about the focus there, than usual, but not too much. I really like the texture of the carbon fiber that's used on some of the stickers here. That is well chosen. I mean, it's a simple one. It doesn't have a whole lot of depth in it. It doesn't have a whole lot of colors, but the texture itself, the spacing of the weave, I think feels pretty realistic, which is not something you'll always see. As a matter of fact, a lot of people get fake carbon fiber texture completely wrong, and it looks really tacky. This does not. You already saw this moving up here. That's the hand of God steering. It's connected through a very simple rack. You do not have a connection to the steering wheel or steering yoke in this case. The doors do open. They open out this way like so, and inside there are two individual seats, and they get stickers in them to try to give you a little bit of detail. There's also a detailed console in there. It's a little bit difficult to see. Oh, it doesn't even want to focus. It's so dark. See if I can get you in there just a little bit to see it. So you've got the heads-up display. Is it heads up, or is it actually a screen? I think it's actually a screen. And then there are two more stickers further inbound, but again, a little bit difficult to see in there. The highlight of this build, well, the core of this build, is its W16 engine. And as I move the car a little bit, you can see the pistons going up and down. They did the opposite of what they did with the Corvette that I had not liked, where the axles in there that actually tap up and down on a crankshaft are set with the bushings facing down rather than facing up. So all those little bits that could kind of represent the tops of pistons are hidden down here, and they're just riding on the cams. This is direct drive, no differential, and that's perfectly fine. There's probably very little differential action in this vehicle in the real world. But the end result is that you can see those little things going tippity-tappity. And the other bank is over there. You just barely see it down in there. You can see it happening, but it doesn't dominate the look. It's not super, super obvious from any kind of distance. So I feel like that's a pretty good compromise. Interestingly, this right here is a 1x1 round tile with a sticker on it, as is this. There are, I think, 2 other spots where 1x1 pieces have stickers applied to them, which is just something unusual to see from Lego. Gosh, I like these right here, how these come together. A bunch of system building is used for this ridge going across the top here. Oh, I'm really struggling to get a consistent focus here. I do apologize for that. These darker things are really rough for autofocus. Oh yeah, down here you can see a couple of the 1x1 stickers. And then these panel pieces, so this is mostly system building down here for the diffuser. These panel pieces have stickers on the inside and outside, so both sides. That's a bunch of stickers for those. Not the most fun thing. This kind of looks right from a distance, but up close it's almost vertical, and it's just so rectangular. I'm not entirely down with that shape. Zooming out just a bit though, they got that nice X shape for the tail lights, done with just lightsaber blades, and it looks cool to me. Is it perfect? No, but it's pretty darn good. I also like all of the shaping of the wings back here. They did an interesting thing with the use of 5 long bars, but these are just cut flexible tube pieces to get the extra length there rather than 4. I think 4 probably could have worked, but this makes it a lot more secure. I appreciate the inclusion of those. Oh, the hood doesn't really open up much, so you can get a little bit better look down in there, just a little bit, but not a lot. That's as far as it'll go before you start having to actually remove pieces entirely. This does have larger tires on the back than it does on the front, which is good. Yeah, it's nice to get these wheels, the narrower, smaller wheels in the yellow color there as well. It's a fairly sturdy build. It's fairly heavy for its size. It's much heavier than I would expect. And when it goes on the ground, because of the size of the wheels and the fact that there's very little flex, very little bend for the size of this model in the chassis, it tends to make really, really good contact with the ground, and it feels stuck. It feels literally well stuck to the ground. There's a good amount of friction just holding it in place. And that feels good. It makes it feel more believable. It makes it feel more like, well, this was actually worth building as opposed to just getting a die-cast car or something. The only thing I really don't like about this from a design perspective in terms of translating the original car, the source material, into model form here is this yellow piece here. I understand what it represents, but I do feel like there should have been a bit more distance in here. I feel like that side window shape should have been more open, because the closer you get to looking at it from above, it appears to get even thinner just because of the overlap. Got a little bit of overhang here on the top. So it looks thinner and thinner and thinner to the point where it almost looks like that window is completely blocked off compared to the real thing, where you see that yellow is down here. That's what that represents. And then you have a much larger area on the back. Just kind of changes the personality of this a bit. So that's just pinching a little bit. If that was down, I think it would be just slightly, maybe one module lower. I think it would look much better. Otherwise though, for the medium, for the size, for the texture of parts that are available, and giving credit where credit is due to the part designers and the introduction of so many pieces in recent years to make more of things like this possible. I think that most of this was designed very, very well And the building experience to me really felt like a miniaturized version of one of the larger supercars, just lots and lots of pieces, just smaller. Speaking of pieces, these are the only leftover ones. The only things of note here are the extra printed Bugatti emblem piece that's on a dark blue background. That's what's used for the center cap of the steering yoke. And then here's that 5 long, I think it's 5, yeah, it's 5 long extra bar piece. It's a flexible part, but check this out though. That's kind of an expert level sticker sheet. That's a lot of stickers. Take special note of this whole set back here, which were used on the diffuser. It's a lot. If you hate stickers, yeah, you're not going to like seeing this. Again, the price of this was $50 US, 50. It's 50 euros or 45 pounds UK. This feels like a decent value to me, even taking it out of the context of Lego in particular, or even not comparing it to other vehicles, other comparable vehicles that Lego has done in similar scale with similar construction, such as, for example, the Senna that came out 2 years before this, McLaren Senna in the same scale, which I also built and reviewed. This feels good. This looks good to me. Everything about this was good, was enjoyable, except for maybe the number of stickers, but even that is kind of feels reasonable for what it is. You can always leave the overwhelming majority of those off and it's still fine. You could probably leave all of those stickers off and it's still fine, honestly. It feels right to me. There's a good amount of stuff. And I think that this is a situation where if you want the thing based on what you've seen so far, you're really, really going to like it once you build it. As long as you have experience with Technic stuff and or you're ready for the Technic building experience. Lots of pins, lots of turning things and kind of having to jiggle them a little bit to make sure that everything fits together. But I'm very satisfied with this. This feels like a good amount of stuff. A good amount of building went into it. It was interesting, has a lot of really useful parts in the very useful colors as well. Just minimal complaints from me about this one, including for the price. You compare this to the Formula E car that they have out right now, which costs the same scale, but is a little bit smaller and has something like half the pieces. That one doesn't make sense. This makes sense. So yeah, even as a person who is not a Technic specialist, I am satisfied with this thing. That's it for my thoughts. Thank you very much for watching. Stay tuned for a lot more content from me here on YouTube and also on Twitch. I'll talk to you again soon.